What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Kel coming to you with another video, and I'm watching Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. Right now it is about 4 minutes left at halftime. Houston playing some real inspiring ball at home, especially without Chris Paul, who was ruled out with the hamstring strain that he had in Game 5. Houston again playing inspiring ball at home. The role players are stepping up. The big difference in this game right now is offensive rebounds. Clint Capella, PJ Tucker doing work in the post, giving the Rockets extra second chance opportunities. Ooh, Tucker came in with a steal. I'm watching it now, but yeah, big. I mean, they're playing really well right now. They're up 15 now. They had a 17-point lead in Game 6 in Golden State, so I mean, no lead is safe, especially with this Golden State Warriors squad, especially if they heat up. But yeah, Golden State really, Houston really coming out strong here, getting that home crowd into it, especially in the second half. I mean, I guess that's one thing that could work with Houston instead of against them, like it did in Game 6 when they were in Oakland. Klay Thompson has 3 fouls, but he's in the game. Remember, he had that big second half. The Warriors had a big second quarter, but then he really went off, and Steph Curry really went off in the second half against the Rockets in Game 6. Curry just hit a 3. It's back to a 12-point game, under 4 minutes left. But yeah, Houston coming out firing on all cylinders, man. All right, and that's halftime. 54-43 is the score in favor of the Rockets. Again, they playing some real inspired ball in front of their home fans, man. Again, offensive rebounds has been the story in this game, giving Rockets second chance opportunities. Late in that second quarter, just some terrible shot selection again from James Harden. I mean, he's been used to getting those foul calls. I mean, a couple of those kind of were foul calls. You should Jordan Bell ran into him as Harden was coming down. Of course, you know the protected shooter rule. He has to have room to come down. He didn't. They didn't call it there. And I think Harden had a call where Bell had his hand out, and Harden went up and it made made contact with Bell's hand, which they usually call a foul, but they didn't call a foul at that point. But either way, Eric Gordon got a full court layup. About 4 seconds left, again, to give them a 54-43 lead going into the half. I mean, they have an 11-point lead, but they had a 10-point lead in Game 6. And then the Splash Brothers got hot. Again, Thompson with 3 fouls. Curry, he hit a few. Durant's hit one that I've seen. He's still kind of struggling with his offense, but I'm pretty sure their season on the line, those guys are going to carry them in the second half, just like the Splash Brothers carried the Warriors in Game 6. So, I mean, this ain't over yet. This ain't over by a long shot. Just see what see how the Rockets regroup, because I mean that's a heck of a first half. You know, especially in Game 7. You know, again, getting those offensive boards and trying to play hard defense. They got a few steals and stuff, making the Warriors turn it over. I mean, it's been done time and time again. The key to slowing down Splash, but especially Curry, getting his airtight defense. You got to get up in them. Got to get up in them. Even it works on Durant too. You got to get physical with them. You got to let them know you're there. You can't give them any space. You give them space. The shot's going in. You run the other way. So I mean, I think the key, definitely the key, is airtight defense on Curry, Durant as the ball handlers. Get physical with them, get rough with them. Even if you gotta give up a couple of fouls or a few fouls, I mean, you just gotta let them know, because they'll wear it down as the game goes on. But we'll see what's going on. We'll see what happens in the second half. Well, that's gonna do it. Final score: the Warriors go on the road and beat the Houston Rockets 101-92. And the Warriors will advance to take on the Cavaliers again for the fourth consecutive time. That's the first time I've seen the stats on Twitter and all that. This is the first time in the four major sports that two teams have advanced to play each other in the championship game or series 4 consecutive years. I'm seriously late with my reaction. It's like 11:30. Game been over for about an hour and a half. But obviously the biggest thing in this game was once again the Warriors go off in the third quarter. Warriors outscore the Rockets 33-15 in said third quarter. Again, another big quarter for Steph Curry and the Warriors. And, you know, I mean, the third quarter is what's hurt Houston in the last 3 games. Excuse me, last 2 games, game 6 and 7. And obviously, a lot of that has to do with Chris Paul being out. I mean, I'm a competitor at heart as well, so I mean, I feel so bad for Chris Paul. You know, this was the biggest series of his career, and he played really well, man. He played really well this series, the 5 games that he played, and you know, that third quarter in Game 5, he scored 18 of his 20 points in that game in that third quarter, and to go down with about a minute left in the game that the Rockets would ultimately win, their last win, and not be able to play Game 6 or Game 7. I know that had to. I mean, I know he just felt so sick to not be able to be out there with his teammates. Again, in the biggest series of his career, he had not gotten to the conference finals before this season. And to not be able to play the last 2 games because of injury, and to see the effect that it had on your team, I know that's got to be sickening to Chris Paul's stomach, and I just feel so bad for him. Other than the Warriors' big third quarter, the other obvious story of the game was the horrendous shooting from the Houston Rockets. They set an NBA record last night. Excuse me, not last night, tonight. It's not 12 midnight yet. They set an NBA record tonight for the most consecutive missed threes. They went 0 of 27. They missed their first 27 shots from three-point range in the second half. I mean, Houston Rockets, the way this team is constructed, I mean, it's basically James Harden or Chris Paul and ISO, and you have 3 shooters around. You have Clint Capella in the paint. I mean, these guys were not hitting anything, and some of these guys were getting wide open shots, like Trevor Ariza. I don't think Ariza even hit a 3, and he had a lot of open opportunities, and he couldn't get anything to fall. I mean, there was also some horrendous 3-pointers by James Harden. I mean, the step back 3-pointer with a guy open in your face. Yeah, he had a couple calls that didn't go his way in the second half, but that might have been the reason. I mean, as bad as it sounds, that might have been the reason. I mean, this guy gets away with this call all the time, and the refs are like, "Well, hey man, if you're taking bad shots, then I'm tired of bailing you out." You know, for taking bad shots, and that might. And I mean, as crazy as that sounds, I mean that might be it. I mean, it's Game 7. They're letting the players decide it. You know, that might have been a reason. The refs probably just had enough. Yeah, but much like Boston last night, the other Rockets did not help James Harden in this game. I mean, again, in a game where you already missed a CB3, Clint Capella was the best other Rocket, but excuse me, there was so much that Clint Capella was able to do. So, I mean, Capella's not a 3-point shooter, but he's basically a guy that you. I mean, he's not DeAndre Jordan. He's not as athletic as DeAndre Jordan, I don't believe, but he's just a lob and slam guy. He's a lob and slam guy. I mean, other than that, he really can't do much offensively. Other than that, just catch a lob and throw it down. He grab offensive rebounds, put it back up. I I haven't really watched him that closely. But I don't know if he has a post move set, but that's mostly what I've seen. Capella do is catch lobs, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing I've been able to see him do. I mean, of course, he rebounds well. He's more of a defensive player, big rebounder, shot contester, blocker. But yeah, I mean, again, Rockets. Argentina lives by the three and dies by the three, and they clearly died by the 3-pointer tonight. Was it 16%? That's worse than Boston was last night. We're going over the stats again. For the Warriors, it was basically their big three. Curry, Thompson, and KD led the Warriors home in Game 7 in Houston. I mean, again, on the road, your stars need to step up, and that's what the stars did tonight. Durant got back to form, 34 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 11 of 21 from the field. It was some questions about him not showing up in especially games 4 and 5 when he went and combined 1 for 9 in the fourth quarter. But he definitely, and plus Game 6, he really was a non-factor as well, even though he didn't have to be because Thompson and Curry went off. But it was some questions going into this game about Durant's performance and Durant's legacy, and he definitely put all of our discredit to bed with a great performance tonight. Steph Curry almost had a triple-double tonight. 27 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds, 10 of 22 from the field, 7 of 15 from 3. Again, he steps up and gets it done. I mean, again, those three, the third quarters, the last, what was it game? No, so not the last 3 games, but game 4, Game 6, and Game 7. Well, excuse me, no, Game 3. Curry definitely found his stroke back. Got his stroke back this series. He struggled coming back off that injury that he had he had been dealing with since the end of the regular season, but he's definitely gotten back into form. And then the hero in Game 6, Klay Thompson, didn't go off for 35 tonight, but he had 19 off of 8 of 13 shooting, very efficient shooting for him. I mean, again, Durant found his form again, and then Curry still able to have his form. They didn't depend on Klay. They didn't need Klay Thompson to go off tonight. Of course, remember him playing defense. He had the 3 fouls in the first quarter, and Steve Kerr elected to still have him in. He was able to not put himself in he didn't put himself in bad spots anymore. Played good defense the rest of the way, and again they got it done. Draymond Green, again, not scoring a lot of points, but he'll get you rebounds, he'll get you assists, he'll do all that dirty work for you. And he had 10 points, but he had 13 rebounds and 5 assists on the night. So again, typical numbers from him. Again, you're not gonna get too much scoring from Draymond Green. He even passes up open 3-point shots, because of his inconsistency of knocking down a 3. But when you got 3 other shooters around you, like Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, I mean, you don't really have to do much offensively. They'll take care of that. And again, for Houston, Harden finishes with 32. 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 turnovers, though. Shot 2 of 13 from 3-point range. I mean, he struggled this whole series as far as hitting threes. I mean, again, some of those, the step back with the defender, like almost right there at his hip. I hate those shots, but I mean, Harden's made a career of getting calls and getting those shots to fall. So I mean, don't really blame him for taking it. That's how they won 65 games. But I mean, obviously, Harden had to take the full workload as far as being a playmaker for the offense, especially with Chris Paul out. I mean, I feel he did. He fought hard. This wasn't a disappearance like it was for him in the conference finals against the Warriors a couple years ago. He didn't disappear like he did against the Spurs last year. Harden played hard to the end. He just did not have the help from his teammates other than Eric Gordon or Clint Capella. Gordon finished with 23 points and 6 assists, but he was also 2 of 12 from the three-point range. I told you about Capella earlier. He had 20 points, 9 rebounds. He shot 9 of 10 from the field. Again, most of those were at the rim, either off of lobs or off of missed shots, offensive rebounds, and putbacks. I mean, the Rockets dominated the first half. I said earlier, they dominated the first half as far as offensive rebounds, but again, all those missed shots in the third quarter really, in the second half, really hurt. They really hurt the Rockets in the end. Again, Trevor Ariza did not even score a point. He put up a goose egg tonight. 0 of 12 from the field, 0 of 9 from three-point range. You could say guarding Kevin Durant had a lot to do with that. He did a good job the last couple of games, but Durant coming back into form to his game one form. We had 37. It seemed like nobody on the Rockets could guard him. Durant got back to that tonight. So huge credit given out to Durant. Take nothing away from Ariza. He's still a great defender, but I mean, when you have a guy like that, with almost 7 foot with us, what it says 7'6" wingspan, like you know, it's what can you do? I think probably the unsung hero for the Rockets in this series, other than Eric Gordon, was PJ Tucker. Tucker, I mean, in those wins, that game 2 win, he made some big shots. Him and Ariza made big shots in game 2's victory. Game 4, game 5, he was huge rebounding the basketball. He didn't score that much, but he was huge rebounding the ball. Tonight he had 14 points and 12 rebounds. I mean, for a small guy, I think PJ Tucker's like maybe 6'7", 6'8". Maybe that's being generous, but you know, he's a big body, by boxing guys out, and you know, using this girth to box guys out and go get those rebounds. I mean, kind of like he's not like Zach Randolph. I mean, he don't jump that high. So he's able to, again, he uses his body, boxes guys out, and he gave Houston a lot of rebounds, a lot of second chance opportunities because a lot of those were on offensive glass. What he had, he had 8 offensive rebounds tonight. Clearly the best out of everybody. Clint Capella was the next person with 4 offensive rebounds, but I mean, Tucker did a hell of a job on the offensive glass, giving Rockets the extra opportunities that they needed. But again, just wasn't the Rockets night, just wasn't the Rockets year. I know a lot will be said about the general manager, Daryl Morey, who at the beginning of the season brought in Chris Paul for the reason to just, he said it publicly, to beat the Warriors. They bought him in to beat, they bought Chris Paul in, they constructed this team to beat the Warriors, and they come up a game short, you know, but again, of course, Chris Paul not being able to play the last couple games, that had something to do with I got put on my Facebook and Twitter. You know, you never know what would have happened if Chris Paul would have been able to play. Sure would have been nice to find out though. But as I said right before I went over the stats and stuff, once again, the 4th meeting between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. Like again, the first time in the 4 major sports where 2 teams have met each other 4 straight times in the championship series or game. Golden State's won 2 out of the last 3 meetings, 2015 and 2017. The Cavaliers won in 2016. Tremendous effort from LeBron James and the Cavaliers coming back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Warriors, who were the best regular season team in the league that year. 73 wins, 9 losses on the season for them. Great comeback victory by the Cavs. But of course, last year the Warriors recruited Kevin Durant to come over. I mean, put them over the top. They only had one loss in the playoffs last year, so I mean, that was a game where Cleveland had to shoot astronomical from 3-point range. Those numbers were unbelievable. It was a record-setting game. Cleveland had to set a record to beat Golden State in a finals game. So, I mean, obviously, Warriors are the huge favorites going into this series because they beat them in 5 last year. I'm a LeBron fan, but I mean, it's just too many questions with that supporting cast. When will they show up? When will they not? When will they show up? When will they not? When will they go cold? I have Warriors in 5. I mean, I'm a LeBron James fan. I think he'll at least get game 3 or game 4 at home. I mean, but again, it just depends on his supporting cast. Now, do I think they have a chance? I mean, I think they could have a chance, But again, the supporting cast has to step up. Kevin Love. I mean, Kevin Love would have to go back to his Minnesota days if Cleveland has any real shot at beating this Warriors team. Jeff Green's gotta make the most of his opportunities. J.R. Smith got to make the most of his opportunities. Kyle Korver got to make the most of his opportunities. George Hill got to make the most of his opportunities. And the other guys that's coming off the bench, Tristan Thompson, he's got to be the energy guy. I mean, Clint Capella had he had a lot of success against these Rockets, and Tristan Thompson plays the same way, giving you that energy, offensive boards, defensive boards, pick and roll, catching a lob, slamming it down hard, getting rebounds, putting it back up and in. I mean, if Capella can have this success that he had against the Warriors, especially in the last few games, I think Tristan Thompson is going to have to be huge for them. Now, the thing is, of course, it also depends on the health of Andre Iguodala. The Cavs can't play 2 bigs against the Warriors. The Cavs can't play 2 bigs because they'll get run out of the gym. Of course, the Warriors with the death lineup, again, it depends on Iguodala's health. I heard Steve Kerr say on the Inside the NBA that his health there hasn't been any real progress in Iguodala's health. So we'll see what happens with him as far as game 1 and game 2. But I mean, they've got to Cleveland for Cleveland to have any real shot. LeBron's got to play out of his mind. Kevin Love has definitely got to play out of his mind, and he can't be, and he's got to be able to give them something defensively as well. Because I'm pretty sure, I mean, as a lot of teams do, they'll definitely, the Warriors will definitely run that pick and roll with Steph Curry on Kevin Love, and to try to exploit that mismatch. All you can ask is Love or Thompson do the best that they can, because I mean it's very hard to guard Steph Curry, because I mean if you play up close to him as a center, as a big man, if you play up close to him, he'll drive past you. If you give him space and run that 3-point line, he'll bury you from 3. So it's going to be a very tough matchup. Again, then you have Durant, then you have Klay Thompson, who can get hot at any second. I mean, again, too many questions with the Cavaliers supporting cast around LeBron James. So LeBron James is going to get his. It depends on that supporting cast, but I just don't know. I just think that the luck is going to run out. I mean, Stephen A. was right. This Cavalier team has faced luck. I mean, they really, Cleveland more than the other teams have made it a series. Cleveland has made these series more of a series than other teams. Again, LeBron, I don't feel has been aggressive enough. I just don't think he can take a break in this series. I really don't. I mean, if I was Tyler, I wouldn't have LeBron do any pregame. I wouldn't have him do any morning shoot around. I mean, just show up when the game is about to start. Leave all your energy for the game that's about to start, because they're going to need every ounce of LeBron James' energy if they have any shot of beating this Warriors team. But I'm going to wrap it up right there, man. Appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what y'all think about the NBA Finals coming up. Thank y'all for watching, and I'm going to see y'all in the next video.